Alright, welcome back to a debate on the slide release. How you release your slide. We're going to put that to an end. So welcome back to Shooting It Straight. It's been forever debated on exactly how we should release our slides. Whether we should, and it's empty, chamber flag. Alright. Whether we should thumb the slide catch lever or whether we should do the grip and rip. Come over and just, and that's the method most often done, and I think because it's just simply popular. Now the fact is that whichever method that you use really doesn't matter. It mostly comes down to personal preference, practice, and the actual controls on your particular pistol. Both slide release methods work, and each one has its own merits and drawbacks. The overhead rack method, is great when your hands are gloved and you can't get to that release, that slide stop lever, or the slide stop or the slide catch control is just too small or otherwise difficult to manipulate with your thumb, like those small stamped tabs on Glocks and so forth, which is why I have to change them out. Now, by the way, on that, a lot of people continue to say that, well, Glock never intended for the slide stop lever to be used to release the slide. Well, that's an old myth, and it is completely untrue. Your Glock's owner's manual clearly illustrates that you can use that. They say that you can do either one. Release it with the rip and grip, or grip and rip, or the slide stop. It doesn't matter to them. They don't care. Now, it's a fact that releasing the slide using the slide catch is faster, and it allows you to get back on target much quicker. You get your magazine in and you're on, right? You don't have to go through that other motion of coming around here and doing this. Now this hand is back here at your shoulder and you got to bring it all the way up and re-grip. But if it works for you, it works for you. That's all that matters. As long as it works, it's fine. But, that's not what's being debated here today. The primary purpose of this particular video is to expose an all too common myth and some misinformation related to using the slide stop to release the slide that continues to be spread throughout the internet gun community. Naturally, these myths and rumors just won't go away. But now, first of all, let me put to rest the nonsense that somehow releasing the slide on an empty chamber damages your pistol. It does no such thing on a quality pistol. If you have a piece of shit pistol, it may matter, but in a decent high quality pistol, it's not going to harm it. In fact, they're made for it. Now, you may not want to do that on a custom tuned 1911 from Wilson's Combat, because it could knock something out of spec. Those are highly tuned pistols right there, and you don't want to go dicking around knocking it around. But otherwise, it won't hurt any quality pistol in the least. What will damage your gun is just taking a live round, dropping it into the chamber, then releasing a slide on top of that. That's going to damage it. It'll eventually damage the extractor. It'll damage your extractor on there, because the extractor, the claw there, the rim of the case is designed to slide up. Your magazine follower pushes that round up behind that claw. That claw is not designed to snap around and snap over the rim of that cartridge to catch in that groove of the cartridge case. It's designed to slide up under there. You load your pistol like that by dropping one in the chamber and dropping it down. Well, that extractor now has to hit and go around and bend outward around that case, and that'll eventually chip or damage that extractor. And now dropping the slide with using the slide stop lever, well, you don't have to worry about slowing the slide velocity when the slide stop is used. Okay, unlike the overhand rack method in some cases. In other words, it's not uncommon for shooters to ride the slide forward when racking it. Like this. You'll see them grab it, pull it back, and then follow the slide on down. Like that, with their hand still on it. That is not what you want to do. Okay, that'll slow the slide enough to cause a mishap. It could cause the rim, it could prevent the rim from feeding under the extractor claw, or it could cause the slide to fail to return into full battery. So the slide must be allowed to close or return closed to full battery under recoil spring tension, unimpeded. But now the single most caution I hear against using the slide catch, using your thumb to hit that, is this. And everybody always says this: well, you lose your fine motor skills in a highly stressful incident, so you won't be able to hit that little slide stop control. Friends, that is pure blibbish. Do you know what blibbish is? Blibbish is 10 pounds of bullshit packed into a 5-pound sack, and that's exactly what that expression is too. First of all, you certainly do not lose all fine motor skills. If that were even remotely true, then you wouldn't be able to swipe the safety off of your pistol. You wouldn't be able to hit that magazine release button to eject a magazine. You wouldn't be able to activate any weapons light. If you had a weapon light right there, you wouldn't be able to activate that. You wouldn't even be able to pull the trigger. So why would this loss of fine motor skills affect only the slide catch or the slide stop operation and nothing else? Well, I'll answer that. Because it's not true. Now, contrary to what most people believe, things like activating the slide release with your thumb, pulling the trigger, swiping off an external safety, ejecting the magazine via the magazine catch button, are not fine motor skills. Let's look at the definition of fine motor skills. Fine motor skills involves a much more refined use of the small muscles of the hand, fingers, and thumb in coordination with the eyes. Hand-eye coordination. Examples of this would involve things such as threading a needle, inserting a small key into a small keyhole, buttoning a shirt with small buttons. Firing and operating a handgun involves no such refined manipulation. Many shooters are capable, I'd say most actually, are capable of pulling the trigger, releasing a magazine, even inserting a magazine, and manipulating other controls without ever once looking at their pistol. Doing so requires no hand-eye coordination. Additionally, manipulating controls such as the slide stop and the safety, magazine catch, is accomplished usually when the thumb is in an extended position. And the pistol itself is used as an anchor point against the palm here, thus using the larger muscles of the hand overall, so the thumb itself is not acting completely independent. Now, I'm quite certain that many people will argue that manipulating thumb safeties, slide catch tabs, magazine release buttons are fine motor skills. And that's cool, that's okay, because that is not my point. My point is, whether these manipulations are fine motor skills or not, the fact remains that you do not lose them during a high-stress encounter. Now, what is true, however, is that a person's dexterity level can become diminished to a degree under high stress conditions, and it's a fairly common thing. This is one of several basic and natural physiological responses to a perceived deadly threat, and it's caused by vasoconstriction. Simply put, vasoconstriction occurs when vasoconstriction occurs, our muscles immediately tense up, which instantly forces blood away from our extremities and pushes that blood into our vital areas and gorges our vital organs, such as heart, lungs, and brain, with extra blood. That loss of blood is what makes us lose a little bit of dexterity. The severity or degree of that degradation of dexterity is different for everyone and for a multitude of reasons. But I have yet to see or hear of any case in which a person's reduction of dexterity was so severe as to render that person incapable of operating his firearm. So it is widely held that proper training and consistent practice of these manipulations can greatly minimize any dexterity difficulties encountered. Now, I for one can personally attest to that, although I will say in my case, my hands did feel like heavy lead weights, but otherwise I functioned fine and got through my deadly encounter, and you can do that too. So what's the lessons learned here? Well, you do not lose fine motor skills or any other motor skills for that matter. However, some dexterity can be affected to a degree under high stress, but proper training and consistent practice have proven to greatly reduce any loss of that dexterity. So if you consistently practice releasing the slide by using that slide stop and hitting this magazine release button and things of that nature, then you'll have no difficulties with any of that under high stress situations. It's a matter of practice. Well, hey, thanks for watching. I'm Antonius, and catch me on the next Shooting It Straight video. Ciao.